Okay, today we're gonna put a rotor on this 94 F250. It's one of the ones with the inboard rotor, so a little bit more of a pain in the ass. I'm gonna start, obviously, I'm gonna jack it up, I'm gonna take the wheel off. I'm gonna take these, I think there's 6 T25s out. Then we're gonna have a C-clip right underneath there to pull, and then an internal ring here to let this come apart. So I'm going to get it up in the air, get this off, and we'll take another shot. Okay, now special tool time. At this guy, the 4-lug front hub tool. It's in the loaner bin at most places. This one's a KD 3246 for this Ford, but your auto parts store probably has a loaner. And I forgot to knock the pins out here and here, and then move the caliper out of the way. About the only nice thing about this job is you can leave the caliper bracket on once you knock that caliper off. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to take the first ring off, set it aside. Then there's going to be a little similar looking spacer ring with an index point on it that can't turn, and then another special fastener in there that you have to use this on. The inboard one is only keeping tension on the bearing, so you can probably pop it off really easily. The outer one is a little bit of work, and then one of those two has a little tit on it, so we'll look at that. That's the only thing you have to worry about keeping oriented when you put it back together. So I'm gonna pull those off without trying to hold the phone, and we'll come back to it. Okay, so this is the most inboard of the 3 pieces, and there's the little tit right there, so make sure when you put it back together this is going out, because when you put this guy back and he's indexed on this guy, he's indexed, you want to make sure that you get these locked together, and that keeps this one that doesn't have any tension on it from moving. Okay, so this is the most inboard of the 3 pieces, and there's the little tit right there, so make sure when you put it back together this is going out, because when you put this guy back and he's indexed on this guy, he's indexed, you want to make sure that you get these locked together, and that keeps this one that doesn't have any tension on it from moving. Knock the old rotor off, knock the studs out first, knock the old rotor off, new rotor on, hub placed, studs back in, everything's cleaned up, ready to install in the reverse. So that's hub's gonna go on, the interior bearing is staying on it, slide it in, outside bearing goes in, then the little one of these guys with the tit, can we see the tit? Can I show the tit on YouTube? There it is, there's the tit right there, it goes out. Okay, then the little guy with the tab, so that this guy doesn't move, slides over the tit. This guy gets the real torque. Then we can reinstall our little locker, ring, seal, C-clip, and outside of whatever you call that damn thing. All right. Okay, so we've run this inside one back down. 2 questions I get: how did I reinstall these? We've got a press here, but if you don't have a press, these are threaded all the way down. You can suck them in with a lug nut. Just stick an old lug nut on, run it down until you look to the back, and then they're flush when they're set, and there's no gap here when you look there. Then on setting the torque on this, I'll get flamed like crazy on the internet for doing it the way I do it. but I've only been doing it this way for 20, 30 years and not had any problems. Turn it down by hand, okay? There's no lash at all, no play. And then I'm gonna back it just far enough to meet the next one of these holes. So then there'd just be the tiniest bit. You can't really even see it, but you could perceive just a tiny bit of not really even play. It's just free. So from all the way snug, then I just go, and again, just finger tight, snug, then back just enough to line up with one of these holes. You got to put this guy, the little tab in the 12 o'clock position, then there's a spline in there, and that way this pre-tension on that bearing never changes. We are all back together. So quick recap, T25s. Take it out, little C-clip in there, retaining ring in there, slide the locking mechanism out. This comes out, locking mechanism comes out. The big wheel nut that you have to use a special 4-prong tool for. Then the little locking collar comes out. Then the inside one that sets the bearing preload. Then the outside bearing. Then the whole thing comes out. Knock your studs out. Knock your rotor off. New hub, new rotor, studs back in, and reinstall everything in the reverse.